Hello everyone and welcome to more behind the scenes of Macbeth. So what am I going to share with you today? I thought I would show you sort of what the actors get up to in between rehearsals, sort of our own study and stuff that we have to do to prepare. You always want to come into your new rehearsal better than you left the last one. So what we've been working on at the moment is blocking the new version, because this time we're going to be in the round, which is a new staging. We've had it in Promenade and Thrust before. This is our first round, which changes things, which is exciting. It's always fun to play with the new dynamic and new things. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how this works. So first off, apologise if you guys know all this stuff, but I'd like to just share with you how I write my blocking and stuff, because I think it's interesting. Hopefully you guys will think it's interesting. Let me know, and let me know what sort of behind the things you'd like to see in the future. So one of the things which is special with this one going up to Edinburgh is that we won't get to rehearse in the space until tech, which, as any theatre folk will know, is slightly terrifying. The idea you're not rehearsing in the actual venue until sort of the day before. We've got previews and things for the first few nights. If those are discounted rates, you'd like to come along to that, you'll be very welcome. I'm very grateful to have you there. So yeah, but in order to hit the ground running when we arrive in Edinburgh, one of the little troubleshoot things we worked out in early rehearsals is we've labelled all four walls. Upstage, downstage, we were all getting confused because it's in the round and it's hard to work out when all the entrances and exits are at different points. So instead we went with points of the compass, so north, south, east and west, and line these up. So I have here my little diagrams. If I can find the current script. I have too many scripts. I have far too many scripts. I've got all four versions of the scripts out in front of me at the moment. But here you go. So this here, you can see here, this is just the way I do blocking. Everyone sort of does it differently, but the way I like to do it is I just use the column on the side of my script and I draw the little box I have here with the north and then the different positioning of each of the actors. I generally prefer to do characters just because they are their characters that particular moment. But with Macbeth, you have Macbeth, Macduff, and Malcolm all chatting at the same time. So M doesn't really work. So instead, I've gone with the actors' initials here. We've got us all lined up in a nice, pretty diagonal line. What is the scene? Oh, back where Macbeth first meet the witches. That's a fun scene. Cool. So yeah, that's the blocking there, and then just doing the little different movements and stuff that happens with each of the actors. So I like to write the other actors blocking as well, not just my own, particularly when I'm interacting with them. So then when I'm rehearsing on my own, I can be like, I walk over there, I turn, Banquo's now over this shoulder, that witch is over there. I can just plot it better in my mind, and then when I get into the space, I can remember it again as we're going along. So we do that. Why do I have so many scripts? You're probably asking. Because it's a lot. It's a lot of scripts I have out here. We've been doing this show since 2020. This is our fourth version of it, and I have a script for each of those versions, and each of them have notes in. They have different notes, they have more useful things. At the moment I'm compiling everything into one script, so I won't have to carry around quite so much with me. For example, my original script has all my paraphrasing, and so one of the things that Emma is really hot on is making sure that we all know what it is we're saying, because you can't connect to the lines, and the audience is never going to understand what you're saying if you don't understand what you're saying. So that's a really important part of the early stages that we originally did when we first did Macbeth, and we keep going back to it, making sure that we all know exactly what we're saying, what the people we're talking to saying, we can connect and have those fun interactions with each other with those lines. So that's this script. And then as you go along, you'll discover new things about the characters. You always will when you're sort of embodying them for this amount of time. And each change of setup, each change of staging will bring out a new thing out of the characters. Say for example, let's take the banquet scene. When we originally did it, Macbeth had a goblet of wine which he threw over the chair and dispelled the ghost. Because we were in the garden and we're outside and we could throw things. Our next iteration we did was at Southside House, where we were on very expensive rugs. We're talking tens of thousands of pounds. So yeah, we weren't spilling anything on those. So then it was, how do we change and adapt? What do we do instead? How does he get rid of the ghost? And one of the things that came up in workshopping it was a dagger. The fact that then Macbeth draws and gets rid of him in that way, which then sort of heightened the level as well, because you shouldn't be bringing a dagger to a feast. That was like a huge no-no, and particularly for the king to draw a weapon at a crowd of when you're surrounded by friends is a really big thing. So that was exciting. That's sort of something we've then carried on to the different versions. So this one as well will have the dagger in, but the staging of the chair has now changed. So each time we previously did the banquet, the chair was always centre stage back here. And then either in Promenade, the audience was looking forward, or when we were in Traverse and St Mary's, it was down one end, and Macbeth then worked the aisle going up and down towards the throne. But this time we can't put it in the middle because the audience is surrounding it, and then it's going to be blocking off someone's side. So instead it's put in one of the corners of the stages by one of the aisles. Macbeth's interacting it that way. But it meant you find new and interesting things come out with it because the chair's in a different place, because the staging's changed. So then one of the things we started playing with recently in this rehearsal was, at least I found, being beside the chair, because I had to be much closer so the audience still could see, because I was feeling around. Otherwise, if I'm right up in the chair, all they're going to see is the back of the head, and that's just not interesting. So but then being beside the chair drew a very definite line for Macbeth between the fact that Banquo was there and he has killed Banquo for this throne, for this essentially empty chair, and sort of then having to think about those, what has he done? Is it worth it? Is what he has done worth what he has won for what he has lost? Which was fun. It was one of those things that wouldn't have come up if we hadn't been doing it in a different setting. And that's always where the fun and the magic is, when you're playing with a new version of a script, which I love. So yeah, that is a little glimpse into what I'm up to at the moment. We're back in rehearsals sometime soon, next few days. I'm coming up north filming some stuff, but I will then be back in London and getting to see the rest of the cast and getting back into Macbeth, which is wonderful. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what other things you'd like to know about, things you'd like to see going on backstage. Yeah, it's really incredible actually having you guys here and having so much support taking the show to Edinburgh, because there's just so much that goes into taking a show. We've got the venues, the accommodation, the advertising, all these like insane bills, and it quite often can feel like a lot because we're a tiny theatre company. We're a little independent thing. There's 4 of us doing the show, and that is it. There is no other admin, there's no other crew, there's no one else sort of behind us. This is it. This is the company. 4 people creating this whole show and taking it, but having sort of all you guys supporting us and wishing us well, and it's made us feel less alone, and it's really lovely to be able to share this journey with you, and to know that there is so much support for Shadow Road and for our Macbeth production, and we cannot wait to take it to Edinburgh and share it with more audiences, and for our Scottish friends, for you to come and see it for the first time. So thank you, and I will chat to you again soon.